Welcome to Sister Talks, where we two sisters talk about life, laughs, and sometimes things that make us go, I'm your co-host, Shanice, of Succeed with Shanice.
And I am Janelle of Dream Talks.
And today we are going to ease into this conversation as it's very gloomy outside. So we're going to get real comfortable in this space to talk about hashtag quiet protesting. This has been something that has come up on the social webs and just in conversations with fellow sisters. So I thought in this moment, these two sisters here talk a little bit about how we feel and or interpret quiet protesting.
Before we get on the topic, I'd like to do something a little lighthearted for this thing. Are you done? You're done introducing, right? I try to wait
before
till
we
after
get
the
into
introduction.
it.
Yeah, okay, great. So do you know how they say like, oh, like there's like that thing on social media and it's like there will be signs, or like, you know, like I'm not going to tell you I'm a millionaire, but there will be signs, or I'm not going to tell you I've made it, but there will be signs, right? So I just wanted to know, what is your one sign? We're not going to say all the signs because we're not going to say all the signs, but because I know I talk about mine a lot, but what is your one sign that's like there will be signs?
Because, I don't want to say all of them.
Yeah.
When you see them, you'll see them. I would have to say, I think the one sign would be, if I like got invited out to brunch or like just out with friends and I get dropped off by a private chauffeur. That would be my sign.
I love how both of ours are transportation.
Just like you would just, if you were paying attention to my life and all the wonderful things that have happened, I think that would depict how much I have transitioned to my life of ease and like calmness, while also being able to, go places and do all the things I want to do.
No, I love that.
So yeah, that would be one sign, and I'll leave the other ones for surprise.
Let them be surprised.
Did you want to share one of yours? I know you do share one, but you didn't share it on this podcast.
That's true. I didn't, but I say it all the time, so I figured you'd be done listening to it.
The people want to hear.
There is a Toyota 4Runner plug-in hybrid, because right now they only make the hybrid, right? Just made it 2025, $62,000. However, when I've made it, I will have then paid somebody to soup that thing up for it to be a plug-in hybrid. Along the line, or Toyota has just made it.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
When you see me in a Toyota 4Runner that is tan with the whole lights on the top and the off-roading tires with the pink fuzzy like steering wheel and like the pink little handle, a little bejeweled, and like pink lights on the floor, I've made it.
Well, I did not know the additives.
Oh yeah, it's on my Pinterest. I know exactly the car that I want, or like exactly how I want it to look. But yeah, that's that. Okay, now we can get into the topic.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna do little icebreakers, although we know each other.
We do. We do. We should do icebreakers, and we would love to hear what would be that one thing for y'all to where it'd be like, yeah. Ooh, I was about to cuss. Yeah, people. I made it. So share with us in the comments and let us know, like, what's that one thing, and we'll continue to manifest it and make it happen. Which I think is great transitioning to our topic, because sometimes we have to take time for ourselves to manifest all the things that we want to happen. Yes, work, but also balance that with, things like quiet protesting. So what does that look like? I I love to start with definitions. That's just who I am. I don't talk about nothing without first Googling, or, well, Google might not be the platform anymore given recent updates on their DEI efforts. But in any case, the definition of quiet protesting is a form of subtle resistance where individuals disengage from systems, spaces, or expectations that no longer serve them. It's often seen as an act of self preservation. This can look like setting firm boundaries at work, reclaiming rest, refusing to overextend, or silently exiting toxic environments rather than fighting openly. Whew. So I just wanted to start off in asking you and the people, when you think about quiet protesting as a form of resistance, how have you personally engaged in this act, if at all, or plan to engage in this act if you do? And then what impact has it either made on you holistically?
That is a good question. Well, first of all, I quiet protest all the time. Um, I recently just started doing it for, given our current circumstances. But before that, I did it a lot in friendships. I'll just leave because by then I've given you so many chances. I'm out. I'm not going to announce it. This ain't the airport. I'm just going to go. But I think quiet protesting works well for me now that like I'm in my business mind, because you don't necessarily want your adversaries or whatever to know your next move. And so I feel like a lot of, while it did work, how can I say this? While it worked before, people have caught on to our way of protesting and our way of doing things to where they already have it outlined and drawn out. So like what we're seeing right now is unprecedented. Like, yeah, it's unprecedented in Washington, D.C., but it's also unprecedented from the 92%. This is the first time we were just like, y'all got it. So not announcing your next move, I think we're going to find works in our best interest. And I have found in my own personal life also works in my best interest, because in stepping away from like those relationships and now stepping away from those brands, but stepping away from those relationships, if I'm not announcing it before I step away, because I've noticed sometimes, I know I'm all over the place right now, but I promise I'll get to the point. I've noticed in the past, sometimes in the times that I do say, hey, I'm stepping away because I don't like X, Y, and Z, or like because this, that, and the other, I was always placated for a certain amount of time just to get me back on board. And then, especially in jobs, but just to get me back on board and then turn around and do the same thing. So I'm just out. And you're not going to know. I'm just out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I come from the other side of it, in that I never knew, as we're coining it today, quiet protesting was an option for me. And I think not necessarily the protesting part, because I'll protest all day, but the quiet part. Like, what would that look like? Me just not opening my mouth and saying what I feel or how I want things to be, or sharing my opinions, when I have worked so hard to finally have my voice to share my opinions. So especially in these times, I'm really trying to, I guess, reflect on what does me sharing my voice look like, but like from what you're saying, from a lens of not spilling all of the tea, not giving them all of the keys to the kingdom, but still operating in a way that I'm still advocating for myself, for the things that I believe in and my values. I think also what comes into play for me, or I guess the more internal struggle, is we grew up. Yeah, sorry, you might hear Louis huffing. But we grew up where, especially Black women, were the resistance. They were they were emboldened or given flowers for going out and taking action and being in the streets and being loud about all of the injustices that we experience in this world. So being able to see that and look up to that and have those as role models, and then turn around and be like, well, is my legacy gonna be invisible because I'm choosing not to take that route? So I guess my thoughts, or my question for you is like, do you ever find yourself thinking about those who came before us and what their fight looked like? And does that somehow maybe challenge how you see we should be fighting today?
That's a really good question. Sometimes, but then I remember my turning point, because obviously we were raised relatively the same.
Yeah.
And I was the more outspoken, like loudly. You were outspoken. I was just loud. But I was like more outspoken all the time. And I started to see in other people, mainly, I'm not going to say her name, but our godmom.
Godmom.
But
Who
I started to
harvests.
see her and all the work that she does to advocate for everybody else all the time. And I was just like, wow, that looks exhausting. Or like we always hear about like the Fannie Lou Hamer, but like who is the friend sticking up for her?
Yep.
Or the Shirley Chisholms, who were her friends sticking up for her? It's like we're raised to be the strong friend. And then I had to look at my own life, right? Like, and it really happened around like 2020, Breonna Taylor, right? Rest in peace and justice, okay? Justice for her. But just seeing the contrast of the protection of Black women versus the protection that Black women allots to everyone else, or provides everyone else, or like advocates for everyone else. I had to then look at myself and look at my own friendships and be like, okay, if something were to be happening to me, where would my friends be in this? And like, because whenever my friends need somebody to stick up for them, whenever my friends need somebody there. X, Y, and Z, right, you're always calling loud Janelle. They're always calling strong Janelle or courageous Janelle. Like, so at what point do I have that reciprocated? And I noticed in a lot of my friendships, I do not have that reciprocated. And it's nor reciprocated in a way that prioritizes my safety.
Yep.
Where
That
you're
part.
not just like, oh, I'm just going to be loud for this Black girl. Now we both getting beat up. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's what has helped me come to terms with like, y'all got it. I'm going back away until it has to do with me, until it has to do with these kids, mine of which are unborn. But
say what kids?
over there when I was teaching, if it didn't have to do with me, if it didn't have to do with these kids, it's not my business.
Yep.
It's not my business.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm in the direction of too, where if it's not my business, it's not my business. And I've kind of always been that way to an extent, except when it's like wrongdoing between a male and a female, and the male was the one who was the perpetrator. I tend to be a little bit more opinionated and involve myself in those situations. But I've gotten better because absolutely, I think our safety and security comes first. And it's very rare that in even a small group, I won't even say like a large mass march or whatever, but just small groups, I don't know, out in the grocery store, the protection of the Black woman in that space is never prioritized, but first to be either targeted or compromised. So I had to learn, even for myself, like, are you doing this? Are you perpetuating what everyone else around you has been doing to you? and not creating space that is safe for yourself, or positioning yourself in places where unfortunately harm might be done unto you. Because if I want other people to protect me, I gotta show them how to do that.
To that point,
Mm-hmm.
because especially as Black women, right, we thrive. Well, not we thrive. We have been like conditioned to thrive, being able to put up with the most, being able to be like, oh, I can be in the brokest situations of still, or I can be in like the most dangerous situations because I'm a survivor and I'm of the, well, not of the streets, but like, you know, like
I've been in these streets,
right? Like I got it out the gutter, all these
yeah,
things,
yeah.
and it took for like something crazy for me to crazy to happen to me, and it wasn't even the first time somebody's like walked in a place with a gun or like, and again, it was not the first time. The first time was like in grad school, I think, and then the second time was
No, the first time like you've been shot at, because that we was young.
oh well, yeah, we were young then.
Yeah.
But to my point, because we're not going.
Yeah.
To my point,
I'm not gonna trigger nothing.
to be like, I don't have to be in these situations. Like, I can be bougie and that's okay. And if that was what makes me bougie, then that's okay. Because you don't expect any of these little
Hello.
to be in these spaces. And y'all know what I mean. So why is it okay for me to be in like danger and have to thank God that I got out of it? Which now I'm irritated because that wasn't the first time.
Yes. Sorry.
So it's happened 3 times. But like, why do I have to be in a space where it's like, oh, thank God I made it, or da 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 da, when that does not have to be the case? Like, that doesn't have to be the case. However, I was always with somebody that like also didn't feel like protection was a priority, you know? So like, nah, sorry. I just had to say that because it's just
no
like,
apology needed. No, because I think that's that's one of the feelings. I will not blanket us, the 92% that we're feeling today, where folks are literally going into the interwebs. I almost said they don't pay us, so I'm not going to say the platform. But going into the interwebs and calling us out for not showing as much action, not being as loud as we may have in the past for a cause that, like, we told y'all
several instances
this was going to happen.
Several instances too. Of course, on the video watching platform, long form video watching platform. Well, actually, by then this will be on there. So on YouTube.
Oh, I see.
They did compilations of people who are saying these things and like getting upset, being like, Black women, da da da, we need to stick together, da da da. Going back in their posts, being like, oh, basically stating in very colorful ways of how they're going to vote in a way that would lead them down the path to experience what they are experiencing now.
We told y'all. We raised money for y'all, because those millions of dollars that more than 100 Black women put together was not just for us, although it prioritized us, as it should. It was not just for us. We went into the caucuses and the boardrooms and the Congress rooms and spoke out. We went to town halls. We did all of the work. And we have shown how this, I'm going to choose my words wisely, how the environment that is being created right now with the social unrest, how that looked not too long ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago. Y'all saw what they did to us. And we told y'all this could happen again. And yet, y'all did what you wanted to do at the polls. And you're sitting here, and I'm not just, and I want to be very clear, I'm speaking to everyone who is not a Black woman. So don't go into the comments and be like, oh, well, not all of us are. I'm speaking to everyone who is not a Black woman. We did our part We always do our part. And every time we choose rest or sit back, y'all have problems.
I also want to challenge, because now that we have invited everybody who's not a Black woman into this space,
My
I thought it was just us up in here,
My
but
bad.
glad to have you. Okay, comment.
You know
share.
people be trolling.
No, but
So
seriously,
I wanna
glad
make
to
sure
have
they
you
hear
though,
it.
because we do need to stand together. However, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
And I want you to ask yourself, honestly, which is, you can put it in the comments or not, why is it okay for Black women to be out on the street marching, but to this day, y'all ain't out there?
No, I don't see
So
y'all.
what is it about how you
Oh,
feel?
well, except,
Well, the women's march, correct.
In the down in LA that just happened. But
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the people who are trying to call us
Absolutely.
out. They're not the
You
people
right.
down in
You
LA.
right.
Because y'all over here still talking about LA really bad, which is weird. But anyway, so two-part question. What is holding you back from marching outside? What are you scared of? What harm are you scared of for going outside right now and marching for what it is you believe in? And then what a part of that makes you feel like it is not okay for you, not okay for your daughters, not safe for your mothers, your aunties, even your uncles, but it is safe and okay for Black women?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the question. Until I have an answer, don't ask me to do nothing.
Right. And I'm going to say something a little funny. Invasive thought. For me, it is too cold for me to be outside marching for something I told y'all the first time not to do. I feel like I sound like our old aunties. Like, we told y'all. And now, like, it's too cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much to be outside right now. So no, I'm going to stay in my house and I'm going to be about my business, which transitions me back to our normal audience. Because again, I know there are going to be trolls, and hi, I see y'all. Happy to talk.
But I just want to also say, just because you're not a Black woman in this space, that doesn't mean that you're a troll. But we do know there are going to be trolls in these comments.
Absolutely.
So just also too, when you see somebody being hateful just to be hateful in the comments, look beside it. We'll do our best to delete
Absolutely
nonsense and be able to curate this space so we can actually have these conversations, because this is a dialogue between us. But if you said, don't let anybody in these comment sections, don't let anybody else ruin your day, don't be arguing in these comment sections, because it's not worth it. Focus on getting money, okay?
Which is a great transition to what I was about to say. I ain't got time to argue with nobody. So by me choosing to tap into what quiet protesting is for me, I'm choosing to harness my energy for the work that needs to be done at hand. Because regardless, we are in changing times and work does need to get done. And because of the times that we are in, I ain't got time to argue. So I implore us as Black women to hold our energy and use it in the best possible way that we can, but harness it so that you can have more longevity. Because yes, it's going to be a tough time, and we've overcome so much already. We can overcome this as long as we stick with each other.
Yeah.
You were going to say something.
I was. Because you said that to harness your energy and focus on the things, like creating the things, right? I also want to highlight that we're already doing it. We're only, the second month through the year? And TikTok University is flourishing, or what is it, Hillman
College?
Hillman University. Whatever they made on TikTok, the Black women. There's a bunch of classes up over there. If you have to, I don't have TikTok, but if you have TikTok, Hillman University. They done made it HBCU on the interwebs, and like there's a whole bunch of professors doing this, and people are registering for these classes, and they're like really good classes. I want to register for one, but it was
it's a whole bunch of different industries.
Correct.
And topics.
And so it's just like, and that was only the first 2 months. So it's like
Mm.
we have all of this in us already. And like, I feel as though conspiracy, I feel as though structures sometimes are created to hinder people's creativity. So if we're too busy doing this, that, and the other, or being stressed or being tired, and what, you can't create. And now we're in a point to where we're taking a step back and we're creating so many things. Sorry, I just had to slip that in there.
No, not sorry. That's, I feel like you read my notes because that pretty much responded or touched lightly on my final question, just around like, how can we leverage this opportunity to quiet protest, to where it brings the meaningful change that we want to see in the world. I know for me, as I'm still exploring what quiet protesting will be for me, because again, I love to talk now that I have found my voice and I have created a platform to share my voice. So when I see the word quiet, I get a little trauma there. But as I'm exploring what quiet protesting is for me, I know that the work that I do in this time of rest and taking a back seat and just observing will be able to inform the work that I do to bring the change that I'm looking for. So for you, how do you think we should leverage this opportunity of self-preservation?
Community, that simple. So I had to look it up really quickly. But in 2022, there was 41.5 million African American people in the United States. So there you go. 41.5 million people. Every single Black business should at least have 1 million followers on any of these social websites. We should create our own communities so that no matter what, and I'm not talking, when I say community, I'm literally every single African American person in the United States should have at least 1 million followers on these social websites. Because so often community is touted to us as like who you went to school with, what street you're on, what
hood you
set
lived in.
you're from. Yeah, like, and it's just like community is so much bigger than that. Like we're only gonna get through this, and we only get through things, which is crazy. I was just writing a blog on this earlier today, just about like community and like why it works out, like just about community.
Yeah,
okay?
read her blog, y'all. We ain't spilling all the tea.
Right, but just about community and like how some people are able to achieve their dreams, and like that's the difference between achieving it and not achieving it, when you have people who know other people who also have community, who have connections, who have resources, da 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 da. So it like makes no sense that we are all not connected. I'm not saying we have to be each other's best friend. I'm not saying, all skin folk is kinfolk. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we can at least give each other a follow on these interwebs, especially for, I see a lot of these pages just getting money just because they have followers, which is crazy. So it's just, let's redistribute some of that wealth. Everybody follow. And I know there's a bunch of Black small businesses. And if you have a Black small business, put your business in the comments. Put your Instagram handle, all the things, so we can follow you as well, because we all should be following each other.
Do not sales pitch.
Oh, yeah. No,
just
no,
the
no.
handles,
Just put
y'all.
the handle. Just put the handle so we can follow and
support each other.
Yeah. That's really all it is. And obviously our handles will be there. We'll be sure to follow back. But it's just that little thing, that free act of community, it'd be amazed what can be, like, our money will just stay within us.
Yeah, I liked how you said that free act, because I think society has made, because everything can be monetized now, right? Society has made it to where when people come together, there's always this this financial buy-in
Mm-hmm.
into being in the space. And some spaces do require that, not knocking it. I think we as Black people need to identify when those spaces need to happen and curate more spaces where our mere presence and who we are is enough. That's the buy-in. My Blackness is what brings me into this space and adds value to this space.
And understanding the difference between a like-minded space and an affinity space, right? So like everything I just said, Black businesses, that's an affinity space. We are of the culture, we are connecting. There is also space for like-minded community because there are some people who are not Black that also put your handle in the chat if you are like-minded, because the more that we are in community, there's the less other people would be able to tell us about other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know how
the more we can educate each other on our individual experiences. Yep.
Correct. Yep. Because remember, like in school and after 9/11, back then it was the news, we didn't have social media, but we went to a pretty diverse school. We had everybody up on there, at least 4 people from each community up in there. Yeah. So while the news is trying to tell us this group of people is this, that, and the other, well, my friend's not like that. So who are you talking about?
I was actually over their house the other day. It was rather fine. The food was good.
Right. So the more we are together, there should be there's nothing that any of these news channels or any of the like social media, or any of these politicians can tell me about the totality of this community. Now, if there's some people in this community that's saying this, that, and the other and being anti-Black, that's them. However, I know too many people in too many communities for me to sit up here and believe it's everybody in that community. So also, it's important to have a like-minded community. Yeah. Wow, I'm a lecturer like Grandpa. Goodness. Sorry, guys.
It's very true. She is. And I lost my train of thought.
It's a good thing I'm going to edit this.
I totally lost my train of thought because there was something you said. Well, it's gone now. So tell us what you think. I think now more than ever, 92%ers out there, we have the full permission or whatever word you want to throw in there to be able to do what is best for us. I know for me, I'm standing on business. I got things that I want to see in this world that I either want to create or be a part of. And I also want to be more informed about my community and my society so I can give back in a meaningful way. Tell us, Janelle.
Okay.
What? Any initial?
So first, I'm going to, if I am so inclined to speak up and say anything, I'm trying not to lecture.
She made a smile. Y'all can't see it on that side.
If I'm inclined to speak up and say anything, it is going to be to the people of which we voted for to do this.
Amen.
Because I feel as though also, as Black women, we have big, I'll do it myself energy. As me personally, I have big, I'll do it myself energy because other people did not do it for us.
Amen.
So I had to do it myself. However, now I'm at the point where if I'm paying your salary.
Hello.
And I have voted for you.
Put your kids through school.
Correct. You have
I still got student
money
loans.
regardless. I'm building a business.
Hello.
I'm living invoice to invoice, but paying your check and your vacations and your little furloughs and your little all that types of stuff. If I'm paying you to do something.
And your chauffeur.
And you got this because you went to school and you're supposed to know this inside and out. Wow, I sound just like Grandpa, but you're supposed to know this inside and out. I'm going to hold you to task to do the job.
Yep.
We cannot be, how ChatGPT said, we cannot be, because I was trying to like organize my thoughts because I was stressed, but we cannot have our day job and also be part-time political analysts.
Thank you, ChatGPT. Say it again.
We cannot have our day job, and some of us also our second job, especially if you live in
Side
California,
hustles. Mm-hmm.
and be part-time political analysts. We have voted for people to do this work.
Yep.
We have voted for people who know the law back and forth, who know the Constitution back and forth, who know everything that you can do back and forth. I'm going to contact you. Why aren't you doing something about this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to start in the city first.
Yep.
Because why aren't you doing something about these potholes?
And generation after generation after generation has issues with potholes. When that can get fixed, I will have more trust in these systems. But no, you make a good point. I and I have to say I'm only doing this work now because I've been more exposed to it through this organization. But like NCNW, them ladies are really good about ensuring they gonna write a letter, do a phone call, and show up. So if you out there were like me at my big age, not knowing how to get connected with your city, state, or federal officials, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your government officials. Those are 3 easy ways. Write a letter. They all have an address, and it does go to someone, and someone actually is being paid by our dollars to read every single letter. If writing or typing is not your thing, or you want to double it with a phone call, call them. There's a direct line to every one of their offices. And again, we are paying, our money is paying for someone to sit at that phone and listen to us. So get on the phone, pick it up, and have that conversation. And what was the third thing? Oh, and then show up to the office. I did not know you can just walk up over Sacramento. We could just walk up to that office and tell them, hey, I want to have an appointment with such and such. Now, granted, you do have to make an appointment. But they are obligated, because we pay for them to be sitting up in that office, to take an appointment with you. So those are 3 ways, even now, if you need to do something, that you can still move the needle and bring in the change that you want. But also share with us. Oh,
I have a 4th way before you.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I know that can seem a little intimidating. So here's a 4th way. A little plug. I used to teach, only 2 years though. If it's intimidating to go up to these city offices, county offices, state offices, whatever, start with your kid's school. Be at that school board meeting. Have something to say. Ask your kids, hey, how's school really going? What do you like? What do you dislike? Go to that school board and say, hey, change this, or they're experiencing this, or our water fountains are dirty, or X, Y, and Z, right? We ain't got no books. The computers are always broken. All of the things of which I've heard and seen. Go up to the school, because also by your kids being in that school, the school is getting money. So that school needs to provide your child an adequate education. Rock up to the school, start small, and then you'll get comfortable doing that. Next thing you know, you might be on the school board, but then you'll get comfortable doing that, and then you can start going up to the city and going up to whatever, if you need to work your way up there.
Yeah, whatever avenue that works within your interest, I recommend taking it. Because I still don't think our voices need to be silenced. I do, however, think we don't need to tell folks what we're about to say. They'll hear it when we show up.
And they'll see it when we do it.
So go ahead, whatever means works for you. I hope you feel encouraged from this small talk to do that. And that's year round. That's not just in these times. That's not just during elections. That's year round, because, again, these officials are making decisions at any given time throughout the year. It wasn't just executive orders that we saw in January. There is still stuff being written in February and in March, in July, August, September, and in midterms, November. So let's make sure that we are still sharing our voices in the capacities in which we want to throughout the year. With that, if anything resonated with you, or if you have any other ways that we can, be the resistance, but from a place of quiet protesting, feel free to share that in the comments, thoughts, ideas, or just general conversations with me and Janelle, and we're happy to connect with y'all on that. Any other last thoughts before we close out?
No, y'all. Bye. It was
All right.
nice. I can't wait to read your comments, to be honest, because this is a topic.
Stand on business, y'all, and we'll speak to you next time.